Colonial justice. I was summoned to a criminal courtroom as if driven by a powerful dream, without memory of how I had reached there or even why I had been called. And I was told by an usher to settle in a vast and overfilled hall, pressed in by a motley of people from opposite ends of the globe. And I couldn't request of my neighbour whose trial was now taking place, since I lacked the ability to chatter in Hausa, Punjabi or Greek. And all I could see of proceedings from my bench in the furthermost rows was a judge who looked like a bulldog and a flag that flew in the dock. I focused my mind and my senses to gain a grasp of events at the front, but the audience shouted objections and missiles were now and then thrown, and so I never discovered the answer, till I suddenly sat up in fear, as the sound system called out my details and ordered that I walk to the top. I shrank in my place to be hidden, but the ushers used pitiless force and frog-marched me up through the centre till we came to a witnesses' stand, where I proclaimed an oath on the Bible and was asked in the solemnest terms if I could name the flapping defendant, and I said, "It's the Union Jack." On one side a unicorn strutted and asked me with an arrogant air about how colonialism functioned and whether it could ever be fair, and I tried to fend off the question, indicating others' worse plight. There are plenty of people before you who are far worse victims than I. But the judge insisted I answer, that there was value in hearing all shades. So I fetched out my truthful opinion and said in the silence that fell, to be brought up as white in Rhodesia was akin to abusing a child, since the fate of the black population was a crime in front of our eyes. A lion leapt up to put questions, and asked with an obnoxious smile if I had not received gifts from the empire, which had always advanced me in life. And I said yes, 100 times yes. It gave shelter to my parents in flight, and in due course I was accepted and thrived in the motherland's arms, and its literature opened up pathways that led towards angels and gods that have nourished me, brought me to rapture, and remain my uppermost love. And the bulldog then turned around sharply and demanded that I say yes or no. Was the empire an overall asset, or to be condemned to a lifetime in jail? I laughed and refused to give answers, explaining our values had changed, and that a judgment that's passed in a courtroom on a particular time and day is as good as written on water, and overlooks history's way, which is to flow with us into the future as our perspectives reorder and slide, at which there was considerable uproar, which gave me the chance to move, and I leapt from the stand in a dash for the flag, and charged with it out of the hall. And I knew what I'd do, and closely pursued, I ran to the riverbank's edge, and I threw in the flag, and watched as it sank, and hoped we could now be good.